Drink it in, man.
Deep left side carry on. Picks on the block. At the 5. At the 2. At the 1 to the end zone. Touchdown, Detroit Lions.
Drink it in, man.
Get up, Stafford throws. It is end zone. Caught! Oh, baby, what a catch! Kenny Galladay, you're a freak! What a catch! Touchdown, Detroit Lions! Cornbread!
I love the Lions! Say it with me! I love the Lions!
Drink it in, man.
Detroit Koolaid, what's going on, everybody? We're back here on a Monday. Fantasy football flavor in the house. Myself, as well as Chuck, returning from vacation. I did a solo show last week. Talked about Tyreek Hill. Did a live draft for the people. Everybody seemed to really love that. I don't know if it's because how awesome I did or because you were gone, but you're back. So what's going on, buddy?
What's up, Oakley? How's it going?
Oh, man, tremendous. You don't have any comeback for that shot I just took at you?
You know, it could be because I was gone because, I don't know how bad, Lions fans actually hate the Cowboys. I don't know how far that goes. I don't hate the Lions, so I don't know how the rebuttal would be towards me. So when you say that, it could be true. If we were in like Philadelphia and New York, I'd be like, yeah, you're right. It's because I'm not here.
See, but I don't think it's your Cowboys love. I think it's the fact that you still buy a magazine.
Agree. One day you'll understand. And you'll look back thinking, I wish I had a magazine.
You know what I think about your magazine, buddy?
I don't. I'm ready. I'm waiting for it.
It was a bad decision. Period, point blank. It was one of the dumbest decisions I ever made.
That's what I think about you going to Barnes & Noble or waiting for the post office to come by each day to see if that thing made it so you can know what you're talking about.
I tell you. No love. That's okay. I know there's people out there that still use it. They still like to have that hands-on feel for the fantasy football.
Oh, man. Well, let's get right into it, man. Let's do some news and notes. There's actually a lot going on with fantasy football right now. So, before we get into some other news and notes, Chuck Dog, I hate to say I told you so, but, man, I told you so, man. Was it me about a month ago that was telling you that Zeke might hold out and he'll be there? I was like, he's got 2 years left, but he's not happy. Now's the time to use his leverage. He might not be at camp. What happened? What do you got to say for yourself?
It must be the Ohio State that coming out of him. I used to think he was a team player. Now he's just all selfish out there. He should be in camp and worried about his contract while he's in camp. He's got 2 years left. He has no leverage right now, and it doesn't look like Jerry's going to pay him because he already came out and told him, you don't need in the new league, you don't need the top rusher to win a Super Bowl.
Chuck Dog, you gotta understand though, like, you think it's really fair for Zeke Elliott, basically the whole team runs through him to make like on an average $5 million the next 2 seasons and get beat up? Like I'm on the running back side on this. I feel like they should be holding out, getting their money, and then also the teams can be a little bit careful of not giving them like 6-year deal, but give this guy, 2 to 4 years at a really good price tag. I mean, he deserves it. He's played great football. He's a young guy. He can do it all. Good luck winning games if he's not there.
Look, he is a big part of their offense, but he's got 2 years left on his contract. I can understand if this is you're going into a contract year, you don't want to get hurt. I get it. Hold out, try to get your money, and then come back and play. But he's asking for like 4 years, $58 million or $57 million, and he's still got 2 years left on his contract. Who's going to say that the Cowboys give him his 4-year deal, and then 2 years he wants to hold out again because he's still got 2 years left?
Chuck Dog, like 2-3 weeks ago, you said pay the man for Melvin. It's the same situation, only Zeke's younger and better.
It's different. Melvin's only has 1 year left on his contract. Zeke has 2. If Zeke was on his last year, yeah.
Melvin's got 2. He's not on his final year. Yeah, if he holds out, he's not free.
I'll have to double check into that, but I thought it was Melvin's last year. I thought this
I
one he was
mean,
going into a final contract year. I thought.
I mean, it may be last, but they have the 5th-year option as well, or they exercise the 5th-year option. So he'd have to sit out 2 full seasons to be free. That's why people are saying Melvin's doesn't make sense. And like you said, I don't know. To me, Zeke Elliott, like, and you're saying 2 years left. My counter to that is these guys have no choice. It's not like he signed some deal 4 years ago and has to live with it now. These are these rookie deals where if you come in and you ball out the way Zeke Elliott has, like, these rookie deals need to be torn up after about 2-3 years because it's just unfair to the players, in my opinion.
No, and I get that too. I do believe that the rookie deal should be shortened. I don't think it should be 5-year contracts. I know that it helps the team out, but it really hurts the player. But at the same time, you signed a contract, play the contract, and I get it. If you have 1 year left on your contract, you're going into a contract year. I get it. Hold out, try to get your money, so that way you can avoid, possible injury and them saying, well, we're not going to pay you because you're injury prone. But at the same time, Zeke has been balling out since day one. But at the same time, he has off the field issues. Who knows? He has a 10-cent head. The guy's got $1 million talent with a 10-cent head. Who knows what he's going to do next offseason after he gets more money? Who knows what his bonehead thing he's going to do? If he was straight and narrow right out in the offseason, never had any issues, I'd be like, man, you need to pay this guy now because we can't win without him, and we still might not be able to win without him. But I don't know if he'll be able to get what he wants, only because as far as maturity, he's just not there.
Chuck Dog, if your name is Zeke, you have the haircut he has, and you're pushing people over guardrails, you think he's gonna figure that out? I mean, and he went to Ohio State. I mean, those are dead giveaways right there.
Yeah, that's the only thing, man. I'm telling you, that Ohio comes out of him. It's just he's
yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know what they get put in the water in Ohio that make these guys make bonehead plays or bonehead decisions. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, let's tighten this up, man. We got other guys to talk about, but what does it do to your Zeke Elliott when it comes to fantasy football drafts? Like, I know you're in a lot of dynasties where you probably have Zeke and whatnot, but if you're in a new startup or you're coming around the bend doing a draft here in the next couple weeks, are you passing on him for other players? Are you still taking him, just feeling like he's going to be in there and it's worth the risk? What's your stance right now?
I would say right now, as far as what you're going to draft him at, as far as in the first round, I would still go for him. If you're not hearing any leverage or any gainway on his contract, I would avoid him in the top 5 right now. Only in restart drafts. In dynasties, I'd probably, if you're starting up a dynasty, I'd probably still go after him, as soon as you can, because eventually he's going to get this deal done and he's going to be back in camp.
Yeah, see, my stance is, like, I really don't move these guys too much based on these real early holdouts. Even a lot of bad news coming out about Melvin Gordon about just he's going to sit out the season. I mean, we're like a few days into training camp. Like, if I'm doing a draft and Melvin Gordon's staring me in the face, or if I'm sitting in a top 3-4 pick and Zeke's there, I'm still going to take the guy just based on overall talent, pedigree. I think it's a very rare chance that these guys do a Lev Bell and sit out extended periods. I mean, let's say Zeke sits out all preseason. Do you care? No. I'll answer that for you. No, you don't care. Like,
no.
If he sits out even a couple games, are you still even worried about that if you drafted him really high? Not really, because most of these guys will be out a game or so anyway, so you're just taking it at the beginning and then hoping that he stays healthy. So my advice to everybody out there is, like, if you can still take Zeke, take him, and if he falls down the board a little bit, even better. I'll take him then at a little bit of a discount coupon and smile all the way. So, I think it'll get together, but everybody's freaking out right now, no doubt about it.
Yeah, without a doubt.
So when I did the solo show, man, I talked about Tyreek Hill. Give your quick take on Tyreek.
Personal wise or fantasy wise? He
Both.
Fantasy wise, it's huge for the fantasy world. I know he's going to be back up in there, as the top 10, top 5 fantasy receivers. Originally I thought he was going to be gone for the whole year, but now they're saying no suspension, no anything. So for as far as the fantasy football goes, he's going to be a top talent to get.
Now, quick follow-up. Did you have him in any leagues? Did you trade him away? Because it was widely thought of he was not only going to miss 6-8 games, maybe a good portion of the season. A lot of people were dealing off Tyreek Hill. Were you one of those guys?
I was thinking I have him in my dynasty league right now. And we were just now starting to get together about talking about it, and I was going to throw him on the trade block. And right now it's looking that I'm probably just going to hang on to him because he's going to give me big numbers. Him and old Patty Mahomes out there, I think they're going to be a heck of a combo.
Oh, yeah. I mean, to me, we don't really even need to get into the off the field. This is a fantasy football show, but I mean, if the NFL couldn't find anything, if he's basically cleared free now, I mean, to me, it's a no-brainer of just hanging on to this guy. He's going to be absolutely electric. Is he a bit of a knucklehead, like you said with Zeke? Yeah, but I mean, unless he does something else bad, he's basically in the free and clear now, I would think. And I would not be looking at a deal of talent in his type of situation. And where he's at now, if it was still really foggy, and the NFL hadn't cleared him and everybody was still unsure, I would be doing what you're saying, maybe entertaining offers, seeing what you could get. But once that came out about him, no suspension, which totally surprised me, you just rock and roll with the guy, no doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
So what else we got? News and notes. Hit me with something.
Well, what about in New York? The Giants, do they even have any receivers left to field the team? They might as well get another running back so they can just have that wishbone offense back there. They got no receivers anyway. You got Coleman that's out for the year with a torn ACL. Then you got who is it? Shepard. What did he just do? Then he just sprained his knee, or what Sterling Shepard do?
He's got a busted up thumb.
Yeah, broke his thumb. Yep. So, and then your boy Golden Tate suspended for the first 4 games for popping those PEDs. And
you know what I gotta say about the Giants receivers?
Let me hear it.
Well, Lottie frickin' da!
Who cares? Nobody cares about the New York Football Giants. Bunch of put together scrub receivers. They go ahead and trade away Odell, the top receiver in the game, in my opinion. And now you want to talk to me about Corey Coleman? What's that sorry bumski ever done in the league? Nothing. Who cares if his knee's ripped off? You got Sterling Shepard. This guy just got paid. He hasn't done much either. He's a second, third tier guy, in my opinion. And then, like you say, GT's not my boy. He is my buddy Big Hughes' favorite player, basically, and I told him he's old, washed up. Obviously, he knew that too, and went ahead and tried to get a little hamburger helper out there to get him past the thing. So, Giants receivers.
Shy, please. Please.
That's what I got to say.
Yeah, I think the Giants are going to go 0-16 this year, so it'd be a good season to watch for them.
Yeah, man. Everybody out there listening, wait till you hear Wednesday and Friday. Me and Grifka recorded our season predictions for the Lions, and wait till you get to that Lions-Giants game and listen to what we had to say about that one. That's tremendous. So they are not going to be a good football team. Chuck Dog, talk to me about a player that somewhat matters. How about A.J. Green? Busted up a tendon in his foot, going to be out 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah, and a lot of people had some high hopes on him this year as far as fantasy football goes. They really thought he was going to turn it up this year, and me, I stay with the same on him. I think he's fragile. I think he's good when he's in there, but he's just not in there enough, for me to take him anywhere in the top few rounds. That's for sure.
Yeah, man. AJ Green is a guy that, he's getting older. Everybody acts like he's still this top 5 receiver. I mean, a lot of receivers have passed him by. When he's fully up and running, he's good. Other times, he's
struggling.
He's out. He's injured. He gets injured at practice.
We talking about practice.
This is a guy that I think, maybe he has a couple good years left when he's healthy, but I'm not taking him as my number 1 anymore. He's a number 2 receiver. The people that drafted him as such, should have known better, and now he's going to be out like normal. So, catch him in week 5 of the season or 6 or whenever he actually gets back. Just give the ball to Joe Mixon. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, I agree. I got Joe Mixon in my dynasty league. But yeah, AJ Green's barely hanging on to a wide receiver 2 for me. I think he's almost to that wide receiver 3 tier to me.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. But like I say, a lot of people have drafted him high. Now he's already hurt, so it's going to hurt some teams out there. I have him in no leagues, 0. So I feel good with that. But you got anything else, Chuck? You want to get this moving?
No, I think we're good on that. I think let's get to our next subject of who we think are going to be busts this year.
Absolutely, man. We got to talk busts. Hold on, one more quick thing, because to me, this is going to get handled quick, but we got to throw it out there. Can't guard Mike, man. Mike Thomas, big time receiver with the Saints, is holding out. Do you think that gets done? Because he's a guy that I know a lot of people do have. I don't have many shares of Mike Thomas, but I think he's a heck of a talent and in a great situation there in New Orleans. Any thoughts on him real quick?
Yeah, I think Drew Brees needs him. I think Drew Brees is probably already in the ear of the front office, telling them, hey, we need to figure out a way to get this guy into camp so we can get things rolling.
Yeah, I think so too. He's a huge piece. And I heard recently they're only a couple $1 million away. So it sounds like they're real far down the road on a contract. But anybody that's in fantasy and has him are definitely going to have their eyes on him. And like I said, don't pass him up in drafts, especially if you're hearing that everything's going well and they're only a little ways away. Don't be these people that pass on him, miss out on a great talent just because you think he's going to be out a few weeks. It's freaking preseason. Who cares? You got almost a month until he really would have to do anything. So I feel good about that. But Chuck, do you have your bust list? Because today we're talking about those fantasy players you want nothing to do with, those guys that you're trying to stay away from, those guys that everybody else is taking high and you're just sitting back there laughing with your magazine saying, he was in the bust column on page 16. I don't want that guy. And we're going to talk all about those guys today. You ready to do this?
This episode is brought to you by Tinder. You matched, chatted, vibe checked. Now it's time to meet IRL. So what's stopping you? Tinder is making dating safer and easier with their excellent safety features. Like Share My Date, the best way to let your friends know your plans. While Moonlight allows you to discreetly call emergency services. And Are You Sure will prompt people to think twice before sending a potentially harmful message. Explore all of the possibilities for yourself. It starts with a swipe. Download Tinder today.
What's going on, Detroit Koolaid listeners? By now, most of you have probably heard of Reality Sports Online, the most powerful fantasy sports platform where owners get to build and manage their fantasy team just like an NFL general manager. But the question is, have you tried it? It's time to go see what all the buzz in the Dynasty community is all about. I'm talking free agency, multi-year contracts, a rookie draft, multi-team trades, franchise tags, contract extensions, first-round rookie options, automated contract and salary cap functionality, and much, much more. Think it sounds complicated? It's not. The best thing about Reality Sports Online Fantasy Front Office is it doesn't take any more time than a standard league. It just requires more strategy. Think you're among the fantasy elite? Well, this is the platform to test your mettle. Still not sure? You can test out your general manager skills for free in a mock free agency auction. If you like what you see, use promo code Koolaid, one word lowercase, promo code Koolaid, to receive a 10% discount on your team or league today. Fantasy just got real at realitysportsonline.com.
Hi, I'm going to whisper some things to you now about Crunch chocolate bars, because apparently this whispering thing is a thing that makes you feel things. It's saying something crunchy is coming in the candy wrapper language. Imagine your tongue hiking up those crispy, rocky ridges. Now, drum roll, please.
Wow, that's good. Crunchy, munchy chocolate doesn't whisper.
Turn up the fun with Crunch.
Absolutely, Derek. I think for your next draft, I'm going to go and cut your internet and see how you do.
Lead it off, man. Get us going with
right.
With your bust list. Let's see how I can tear into this thing.
All right, sounds good. Well, the first one I think you're going to love. I think the biggest bust for me right now that won't perform as much as he did last year is Adam Thielen. I think last year he just went off. He had a heck of a year. I think he just had a career year. And, the Vikings are changing their offense a little bit. They're turning into a run-first offense, and I just don't think he'll get the yards and opportunities that he had last year. All right, and then my next one is Jarvis Landry. I know he's a great talent. You're lucky I don't have buzzers over here on everything you talk. Jarvis Landry. I know he's a great talent, but I think OBJ and I'm really high on Njoku right now too. I think they're going to start stealing a little bit of his looks away. So I think he's going to be a little bit of a bust for me. I think people are thinking that, it's Jarvis Landry. They're going to take him a little higher than what he should be. And I just think Njoku and OBJ are going to have a better year than Jarvis.
That is incredible.
Thank you. No applause. All right. And then my next one is Lamar Miller. Everything I'm reading with Houston, they're just telling me that they don't see him as their featured back. They seem to be leaning towards, they think Deontay Foreman, which I don't think is very good either, but they think that he's going to end up winning the starting line or the starting running back spot, after how many times it takes, but, that's what they're saying.
Oh!
Yeah. So, and then now we have, I like Sony Michel. I think people might be a little higher on him than what they need to be. He ended the year great, but I think out there in New England, how Bill Belichick is. He's got a three-headed monster, and that's the way he likes it. He's got the rookie Damian Harris, still have James White and Sony Michel, so there's going to be a lot of split carries through there. So anyway, back to the number one guy. For me, is going to be Todd Gurley. I think people are taking him way too early. God. And I don't think he's going to be nearly as good as he has been in the last few years. I think he's going to lose some carries to Darrell Henderson. He'll still have a respectful season, but he won't be that top tier running back as he was before. Now, if I can get myself a turntable over here so I can start buzzing your stuff, you're up.
Chuck, did you really just end your bust list with Todd Gurley, basically the top fantasy player in the league last year? He's on your top of your bust list, really?
Yeah, because he ain't going to be the top this year.
Who? Says your medical staff or what?
Says my futuristic knowledge.
The magazine?
Yeah. Hey, how's your internet?
Oh, it's going great.
Step your game up.
That was a disgraceful performance, in my opinion. We threw that game. We gave it away.
That's what I think about your bust list. All right, can I go now? You can make up your own sounds if you want, but I was trying to give some feedback there while you were giving your list. But
all right, you go ahead and start it off. I'll take a nap while you do your list. And
all right.
Just buzz me when you're ready.
Okay, we'll do, sir. So when I was thinking fantasy bust, man, I was like, a fantasy bust to me is a guy that, is in that, not that upper echelon. There's not too many guys that are going to be in that top that are going to really bust out. I mean, that's why I'm giving you junk about Todd Gurley. Everybody acts like Todd Gurley's knee fell off and that he's going to just have an atrocious season. Like, to me.
Did you see that knee on eBay?
No, I haven't. I think he's going to be fine, to be honest. No, I think the dude's good. I mean, this is a whole bunch of off-season talk of just everybody just running for the hills, and I bet you he's still RB1, upper RB2. People are acting like they're going to draft him in the 4th round. Like, good luck, because I'm snagging him still in round 1 or 2, not worrying about it. But anyway, like I was saying, so busts to me are kind of...
Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. Now, that's where I'm going with Gurley as a bust. Last year, Gurley wasn't in the top of the 2nd round. If you got Gurley in the top of the 2nd round last year, that's a total steal. That, to me, is where I'm saying that he's a bust at. And you're already putting him in the bust category because last year he was the top running back for fantasy football. And you're already saying, well, if he's there in the 2nd round, well, to me, that's already the bust.
Well, we have different views then because Todd Gurley was a top 3 pick last year. and I'm still keeping him basically in my top 10, top 15. I mean, to me, that's not a bust. That's a guy that I'm getting at value. That's a guy that everybody else is like quit on and passed by. And I'm sitting there going, can I really get Todd Gurley at 15th pick overall? Like, give him to me all day. No.
You're not taking him number 3, right?
No, because I don't have to.
Well, I'm just saying.
He's going to fall, and I'm going to get him, and then he's going to be a top 8 back, and everybody thinks he's like going to be in the 20s. Like, it's just went way too far with Todd Gurley, and the only thing that can make me wrong is if he misses a ton of games this year with this knee injury. If he's out there for even 10 games, he's going to be a really good fantasy asset to have. So, can I do my list now?
Yeah, we can battle all day on Gurley. We're going to go ahead and just let that slide because I don't have any music over here to play with you, but let's go with your list.
All right. So like I was saying, busts to me are kind of that second tier guys that people, are expecting to break out that I don't think will, or guys that had a good year last year that are going to fall back this year. So you've heard me before on the show, man. Top of my list is a guy in Kansas City, Damian Williams, running back, your boy. This is a guy you talk up like he's going to be in all everything, and I think he did great last year. I mean, when they put him out there, oh, wow, he produced. You know how many carries he's had in a season? I think as high as 50 for a whole season. So good luck giving him 250 or 300. See how he does. He'll be either hurt or suck or both before it's all said and done. So Damian Williams, top of my list as far as bust candidates. The next one is a Detroit Lions fan favorite. This is a guy that I think just had the year of his life last year. Is going to fall off the map again with his butter stick hands and frying pan wrists. This is Eric Ebron, man, a guy who people think now are putting him in the top 5 overall tight ends, a guy that hasn't done anything up to last year, and all of a sudden he gets a bunch of touchdowns, and everybody's like, oh, that's my number 6 overall tight end. I'm like, this guy is not going to replicate that in the least. He's, like I say, got Crisco on his gloves. So the next guy I got, let me see here. My next guy, again, I was trying to sort of spread these out. So I got a running back, a tight end. If I want to go receiver when it goes to bus, this is a guy, he's coming off a knee injury. I never even understand why this guy is drafted really high anyway. If I give this guy a crazy value, okay, but I'm not taking him as like my number 2 receiver. Cooper Kupp, man, everybody are way too high on this guy. He's a white slot receiver that, okay, he's decent at what he does, but I'm not making him a high fantasy asset. I feel like he's going to have struggle coming back from the knee injury and be a marginal player at best. So like if I can get him as a 4th receiver, sure, I'll take him, but he's not going to be in my starting lineup this year, and don't think he'll produce the way people are thinking. Going back to the running back realm, David Montgomery. David Montgomery's a guy in Chicago who people are just anointing as like this lead back. What's he ever done in the league? Oh, yeah, that's right. He's a rookie running back that came out of a crazy system in college that will probably have some moments, but he's not going to be that good. What's that?
Did you just give a Mike Grifka? What has he done for me? Did I hear that? I heard that, right?
Yeah, I did think of Grifka's dumbass when I was saying it, but
what have you done for me?
But this is a guy like people are taking as basically like a number 2 running back in fantasy. I mean, they have like 3 or 4 running backs in Chicago, and they spread the football. So am I wanting him as my 2 or my 3? No, there's many better options out there. So I think he's going to be a bust when it comes to expectations. Another guy who everybody's super high on. They absolutely love this guy and think that he's going to blow up. I think he's going to blow up the other way, explode when it comes to bust category. And this is Marlon Mack, man, a guy in Indianapolis who people think he's never been healthy. He's a guy that everybody thinks can catch. He can run. He can do all this stuff. Again, have you looked at the Colts depth chart? They got about 2-3 running backs that they rotate in. They got 2-3 tight ends. They got a bunch of young receivers. Marlon Mack's not going to have this incredible year. There's no doubt. And then the last 3 names on my list, bumping back to receiver, Robbie Anderson, another guy who blew up last year. Now he's getting rated real high. Don't want him. He's got off-field issues, knucklehead, only catches deep balls. Chris Carson is a guy out in Seattle that everybody likes, even the coaching staff out there likes. I think he's going to get pushed out of a starting job and be a 2 or a 3. When it comes to actual running backs, I really don't want him as a high draft pick on my fantasy team. And then Marquez Valdez Scantling. I mean, I basically put him on the list because his name is Marquez Valdez Scantling. I mean, you got 3 names. You're automatically on my bust list. You play for the Packers. You're automatically on my bust list. And if Aaron Rodgers has anything to do with you, you're on my bust list. I hate you. So that's why he made the list.
I don't even want to type that guy's name. So if anybody drafts him in my league, I'm kicking him out.
Right. Right. I don't know if there's a hyphen or if it's his wife's name that he put in his to get 3. I mean, it's embarrassing, whatever it is. So that's my bust list. So you're pretty quiet over there, like I thought you would be.
Only because I don't have a turntable over here like you, where I can sit there and throw in these little comments. I already got you on a couple, and that's what I agreed on. The other ones that they almost made my list too, but I got you on the couple that I disagreed with. So.
All right. So no other big issues now that I turn the floor back to you.
No, not real huge issues. I just think that like I said, we could go all day on Gurley. I don't know how I think he's a bust and what you see as a good running back. I never once said he wasn't going to be good. I just think he's not going to be as good as he has been. And there's a lot of people out there that still think that he's that super running back.
Okay, but let's spend another minute or so on him. So, like, when you say not as good as he has been, to me, that's not only not a bust, that's an optimistic view because everybody else in the fantasy community is running for the hills. They don't want anything to do with Todd Gurley. They're willing to trade him for peanuts. They're over here drafting Darrell Henderson like he's going to be the next coming. I'm just sitting there going, if I can sit there and not take Todd Gurley in the top 5, top 8, if he comes back around to me and there's nobody else that I love, I'm not going to play around. I'm going to take the guy because I just can't imagine him going from an absolute elite top fantasy option to a guy you can't even start this year, which is what people are saying. That's why he's bust category for most, is because he's going to be hurt. He's not going to be in your lineup. You can't even take him in the first 4 rounds. You're just saying like, hey, if I don't have to take him in the top 5, but I can get him after, I'm happy. Like, that's not bust.
For Todd Gurley, it is, to me. For Todd Gurley is just one of them superstar running backs that you had to have. He's been the top number 1 pick for so many years for guys to have, and now there's still people out there that still think, it's kind of like Derek Oakley that still thinks Todd Gurley is the greatest thing since sliced bread. But I just don't see him having that great of a year. I mean, I think he's going to have an average year. And if he proves me wrong, great, because I have him in my dynasty league. I won't be mad.
But an average year isn't a bust. Like, if he falls off a little bit, why would he be a bust? He's going to have to absolutely go from the best player in fantasy to a guy that is number 4 running back on your fantasy team to bust. If he's just like drops from a stud, absolute top 5 guy overall to your number 1 or number 2 running back and plays a lot and puts up good numbers, that's not a bust out. That's a little bit of a regression from a guy that was a premier player at one point. And everybody knew he had these knee issues coming out. What?
At the age of 25, there shouldn't be that much of a regression, and that's why he's a bust.
Well, yeah, but also, like, he was coming out in the draft. It's not like people didn't know that he had torn up knee and that he might have some arthritis later. Everybody acts like this is coming out of nowhere. I mean, not only was he a big draft risk that ended up being a tremendous pick, but, okay, so his knee's a little sore. Like, until I see this year, I will totally come on the show, and if he, like, plays 4 games and can't run and he's sitting over there on the exercise bike, I mean, I'll come out and totally say I missed it. I was totally wrong, but I mean, because he had a few injuries in the playoffs and couldn't play in the biggest game of his life, I'm not dropping him down like off the radar in fantasy football. I mean, I got to see at least this year of prolonged issues before I just go with everybody else. It just says this guy's a waste of a pick now.
All right. So yeah, well, let's just move on. We'll have to agree to disagree on that subject right now. Like I said, I hope you prove me wrong because, like I said, he's on my dynasty team. I'm not gonna just bail on him yet, but I don't think he's going to be who he's been. So let's move on to their next subject.
Hold on, before we do, and so you're calling me out for a Grifkaism, and then you go with, well, we can agree to disagree, one of his patented phrases.
That's old people phrase, man. That ain't even Grifka.
That's a bell for you for that.
That's old people phrase.
Yeah, well, that's what Grifka does. He says stuff like fork to the nose. He brought up the Mason Dixon line in our last show. He likes to talk about things that nobody has any clue what he's saying. I mean, that's what Grifka does. Phrases that like only people like, I don't even know. Nobody uses it that I've ever known, but he thinks they're common phrases. So anyway,
I'll start have to listen to those shows so I can pick up on some of them and bring them back to here.
Oh, come on. You know you're a Detroit Kool-Aid fan. You got those things on download every day like all the other Kool-Aid drinks out there. So, like you said, let's move it on. We definitely wanted to hit here at the end. We wanted to hit some Lions busts for people. So, Detroit Lions fantasy options that could either underperform. This is where you can be a little more picky because we don't have a ton to pick from. So a guy that might regress from what he did last year, a guy that has been good that you think maybe won't be good this year, or just a name or two that, people may want to take or may want to stay away from, when it comes to the Lions and fantasy football.
This was a tough one for me because I just, like I said, from the beginning of this fantasy show, I am a big fan of the Lions offense this year. Like I said, I just think Stafford is going to be a beast in fantasy. I think he's going to, especially with his tight end, I think he's going to be a stud this year as far as fantasy football goes. I don't know how that's going to turn into winning games, but if you put up points, then, that should lead to some wins. So I guess,
please tell me you've heard the reports about Hockenson scoring touchdowns left and right in camp.
Oh, yeah. Like I said, I've been a big fan of Hockenson since, they drafted him. I think that's what Stafford needed. I think he needed one of those, little safety bells that he could throw to. And then he just, But as far as busts,
hold on. That's for you, Grifka, that Hockenson love, and also you said will it translate to wins. If you want to know if it'll translate to wins, listen to Wednesday and listen to Friday, where me and Grifka break down every single game, give our take. And Chuck, you definitely want to tune into those shows because when that Cowboys game came up, we had a few things to say about you, buddy.
All right, I'll have to check it out. But as far as bust, Derek, I don't foresee, I guess a bust for me would be maybe these players don't ball out like I think they're going to. So, maybe Kerryon doesn't go off like I think he's going to. I read some.
Who'd you say?
Kerryon.
Carry on my wayward son.
That's what I thought you said.
Yep. I've been a big fan of him. With the Lions, he averaged like 5.3 yards, somewhere in that area last year for them. And the only thing I've read is that they don't think he's a every down back. They want to use multiple backs, but I don't know who else they're going to use. They just got rid of Theo Riddick. Did they sign another one?
Nope. They got big Mike Daniels, man. So we traded a big old nasty beast on the defensive line for a fringe running back.
Great. Okay, but yeah,
it is great.
As far as busts go, man, I'm gonna leave that to you because, like I said, I have I see high hopes with the Lions offense. I guess the only ones that maybe we will disagree on is maybe Marvin Jones. I don't think he's gonna have that great of a year, but you liked him, so you've seen more of him than I have. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn this over to you.
All right, yeah, man. I was thinking about this. It was really hard. Again, I'm the originator here of the Detroit Koolaid Cast, so it's definitely hard for me to come up with busts for my team and for guys that I'm hoping will ball out this year. But I was grinding, trying to think of who might underperform, and like I said, it was hard. I mean, on the previous show, I know I just said I'm happy to have Mike Daniels in exchange basically for Theo Riddick. I remember on a previous show I said that Theo may surprise or they could get him the football. I just think when it was all said and done that he didn't do anything else on special teams, these other things. So they decided to move in a different direction when it comes to running backs. So when it comes to busts for me, I don't know. Like I've been talking up Hockenson, so I mean I don't view Jesse James necessarily as a huge bust, but I think he'll be making $6-7 million. And I think his numbers will be somewhat somewhat capped based on the rookie being there and them spreading the football around. So I put him on my list. And this is going to be one you're probably going to balk at because, like you said, I talked him up on our previous, but I did put Marv here on my list because I gave the reasons why he could outperform and my reasons that he could underperform, not so much bust out, but kind of underperform is that, I mean, he's coming up here on his contract being expired pretty soon. Kenny's coming on. They got all these other weapons. They may just spread the ball around a little bit more, and Marvin may find his value if he can find the end zone or if he can make some of those big plays he made a couple years ago. If he can't, you know, his numbers I could see being a little more marginal, you know, in that, you know, 50 catch range. You know, maybe he's only getting, you know, 600-700 yards and a few scores, which could still help the team, but it would be kind of a drop down from where people are sort of assuming he might be in a bounce back year, being healthy and whatnot. Still pretty receiver that I see taking kind of in that mid-level as a guy with upside that people seem to like. And I could see that being the fact. And I could also see it being kind of a, oh man, I took Marvin Jones. I thought at a good value and it just didn't produce numbers wise when it's all said and done. So I just came up with those two names. I mean, everybody else from Carry-On to Hawk to Matt Stafford and Kenny are all guys that I really want to perform this year. I guess one other quick bust I would throw out there. This is a guy that I'm undecided, man. I've been talking on Twitter with a bunch of people and everybody's going nuts. Grifka included on a previous podcast about Ty Johnson, the running back they took from Maryland. I'm getting all these tweets about his crazy athleticism and, oh man, if he had got the football at Maryland, he'd be an all-pro and he'd been taken in the second round. And I had to talk Grifka off the ledge. Grifka said in 2020, it's going to be Carry-On and Ty Johnson are going to lead the Lions running backs. And I'm like, okay, based on what, you know? So I think Ty Johnson's a guy who I did a little more research on him. Yeah, I mean, he's got some good skills, good talent in some areas. But again, nobody's even seen this guy in an NFL uniform. And he doesn't have this crazy pedigree that makes you just assume that he's going to be this amazing athlete. Yeah, he's fast. Everybody knows that. So I put Ty Johnson on my underperform / excuse me, bust list of some sort until I kind of see him and see what his ceiling might be, because a lot of people are just sort of writing him in this area where I'm just like, hold up now. You know, he was taken in the 6th round for a reason. And we'll see what he does from there. So those are a couple of names I threw out there for the Kool-Aid drinkers.
All right, yeah. I don't really have an opinion on Ty Johnson right now. He, like you said, he was drafted in the 6th round for a reason. Even if he didn't get that many carries at Maryland, if he would have balled out during the combine, his draft status definitely would have went higher than a 6th round. That's for sure.
Yeah, man, we'll see what happens. So, Chuck Dog, we'll go ahead and get out of here for the show today. I know this is one of your favorite tunes. We'll put this underneath as we kind of get out of here. See if you recognize this one. A little Renegade for that. Well, how's that line go you spit back in the day?
Yeah, I'm a renegade. I don't even know any given time or day. It's been so long since I heard that dang song.
There you go. And this is a guy who used to drop lines all day. Now he can't come up with the verse and killing me. But
that's what kids do to you, bro.
But hey, man, I thought this was a good show. Like, it was fun to talk about the news and notes. A lot of players either holding out or just kind of, on that fringe in regards to what do you do with your drafts? Where do you take them? And
yeah, absolutely.
The busts are always like fun because you got to go into your drafts with some guys with a big red X by their name that you either don't want or you're not going to take at a certain value. So going over those guys is important. And then we got some Lions busts in there, which all the Detroit Kool-Aid fans, nobody wants any of our players to bust. Nobody wants anybody to underperform. But it's going to happen at some level. So we gave you a couple fantasy names to somewhat avoid. But me and Chuck are on the same page saying that these guys, we think that offense has a lot of upside. And now we're only a few weeks away of seeing what they can do when the bullets are flying and the real games are going. So super excited that football is right around the corner, man.
Yeah, me too. And this is the last month that they're for the remainder of the year without any football. So I'm real excited.
Yeah. Chuck, you want to throw out that Twitter that you said you were going to get by this show, or no?
Yeah. My Twitter name is @Chuck_C Reeves33.
Oh man, you did come through for it. So everybody give him a follow. I mean, I don't know if he could have found a more difficult underscore. I was getting rid of. I had underscore. I think underscores were cool back in the day, but I tried to get rid of it on our thing because I don't know. It's hard to find on the keyboard. It's a little tough, but I know you like that C Reeves 33.
Yep, they look good. The underscores look good in my magazine. So.
And I guess Chuck Reeves probably is about 8,000 Chuck Reeves already on Twitter.
Yeah, there's 8,700.
So, hey man, good stuff. Hit Chuck up. You can get at me at Derek Okrie, DEREK OKRIE, talking all things Lions, fantasy football, all types of stuff. So, thank everybody for listening for the fantasy football flavor. We'll be back here right next week, same time on Monday, talking all things fantasy football. Take care, everybody. We're out.
Pack the bag, start the plane. This game is over. It is over. What a comeback by the Lions.
Drink it in, man.